Welcome to another episode of Plate Stack Chat, the third in our Plate Stack Chat live series celebrating and debriefing the CrossFit Open 2022. You're with me, Tom, Jason, and Sam as always. I'm delighted this week to welcome not just one, but two of the Defiant Co dream team, Nicole Crouch and Josie Winfield.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you
How are we
tell
doing?
that we're sponsored?
Don't know if you noticed, but they're kind of a big deal.
I mean,
I just don't have any other clothes.
I'm going to
That's it
switch them
now.
around because I feel bad that they're on the bottom of the roster, so I'm going to put them at the top. That's how we work.
So some of you may be joining us live on YouTube, 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Others of you may be watching it back on YouTube. Others may be listening to this as a podcast, which comes out the following Thursday morning, and you can get that on whatever podcast platform you prefer. Those of you watching will no doubt, see that both Nicole and Josie are sporting their very nice Defiant Co. Hoodies, but it also looks like I'm thinking Steam must provide you with awesome backdrops as well. I've got to up my backdrop game.
Nicole always says I look like I'm in the Big Brother house.
In the Big Brother chair. I'm just ready for it to go like, who is she? Who is she? Ready
This
for
is my
it.
extra room.
Yeah.
It's the
Where
most
is
extra room in the house.
I mean, Defiant Co
And
are playing well if you can afford an extra room. That's interesting.
And Nick, you just look like you're ready to solve some crimes with that kind of lovely kind of like that lovely backdrop, that downlight.
I know. Yeah, I work from my conservatory, so I was like, oh, it's all set up. I'll just stay here, not really realizing there's no lights. So I've just got lamps everywhere to try and give me some light.
I love lamp.
Yeah, I said to Sam, like, it's not doing me any favors for my forehead because I look like Ant McPartlin, but I'm gonna sit back a bit and just enjoy the show.
Oh well, yeah, it's great to have you both on. It's great to have the boys on as always. We've had some really fun chats with folk from the community. So first of all, before we jump into it, thank you very much for jumping on and being willing to kind of talk CrossFit with us.
Likewise, yeah, no, it's awesome being here.
It's obviously 22.3. We'll no doubt talk about whether it was legs, lats, or simply just lungs. It definitely felt like all three for me. But before that, like I was actually originally going to say like you're the CrossFit 13 dream team because it rang off the tongue a little bit better. But Nick, you're like me and kind of do the open everywhere really. And although you did do
a nomad,
you did do. Yeah, gotta love some nomad CrossFitters. But if we don't have a training, if we didn't have a training facility, we'd find ourselves getting disqualified from the team event, which is a bit of news, but we'll save that for later. But you did 22.3 with Josie at CrossFit 13, didn't you? So no doubt I really want to hear how that went for you. But Friday Night Lights this week, you were with Sam down at Whithouse, London. We're seeing out the opening style with Puma. How was that, Sam?
I'm sponsored now, so just saying.
Kitted out.
No, I'm not sponsored. Puma Performance. I would love you to sponsor me. Please do so. But I would need to have some form of performance to do that, right? Puma Performance, sponsor me for my amazing performance.
Did you do the open, Sam?
I did do the open. I think I was in probably 99th percentile. I've seen all this stuff. You are not your open score. I'm very much my open score. I mean, my open score probably was about my age, I think. Like if you count up all the reps. But yeah, that was I think it was epic. The Friday night was really cool. Really fun. It was cool to meet. I haven't met Lukey Bron before, or I haven't met Philroy before. In fact, I haven't met anyone. I just don't really meet anyone. So it was nice to be out of the house. But yeah, all the guys at Wit was buzzing, absolutely bouncing, and we had this cool DJ. She was all right.
I know it was so hard watching people do it, and because I was trying to get there in time to give it a bash during the day, so that I could just relax and like DJ without kind of watching people's strategies, like watching them die. But I didn't get a chance to. So yeah, it was it was quite hard not to just get carried away with tactics and watch people, how they break it up, how they
I
gonna
did
go
nearly
for it.
manage to get Nick into to actually do the Open on the night
Mm.
in the last heat, which was would have been quite fun. Because Sam Stewart was there, and he'd been doing stuff like all day. He'd been traveling since like 2 a.m. and was just then I don't even know what happened. He just like instantly felt mega rough about half an hour before. So they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have Luke and we're gonna have Philroy do it." I was like, "Oh, Nick will do it." She's like same as Laura Hobarth at the moment in the Open. She's basically like games athlete. So just get her to do it. Keith was like, "Oh," I was like, "Nah, she probably doesn't actually want to do it," and you wouldn't have a DJ either.
And I'd have been heartbroken.
Yeah,
I'd have been heartbroken. She promised to do it with me.
That is actually what she said as well. She was like, I actually can't. I was like, I'll put your name for it. She was like, I can't. I've already promised to do it with Josie. I was like,
can't
oh.
do it twice.
Yeah.
Yes, Nicole.
So Josie, like you guys had planned to do that, and was it Sunday that you did it? I've lost track of the days.
Saturday. I think we did. Did we do it on Saturday? Yeah. We did it at 13. Cross at 13 on Saturday.
Yeah. How did you find it? So Nick was there saying like, "Oh, you end up watching people and being influenced." I mean, are you normally someone who wants to get it done early in the weekend so you're not like overthinking it, or was it hard to kind of wait until Saturday?
Well, usually the other ones I did on Friday, but my coach was like, "You're not allowed to redo it." So then you do it on Friday, and you're like, "Oh no!" Now you see all these scores coming in, then you kind of want to redo it. So I was like, "No, this one I'm just going to do one and done. Have a really good go at it." And I know if I go with Nicole, I'll push myself hard the first time. So I was like, I want to finish this one. Like, I have no intention of redoing that. Like, I couldn't have given it any more. So that's why we wanted to go together, really, I think, because we were like, she'll drag me through the thrusters. I'll probably be dying on the floor.
I'll just be holding onto the bar or standing under it, watching up. Yeah.
Good times.
So,
yeah. Nah, that's cool. We'll talk more on strategy. I want to finish community first by going back to Jason. It looked like it was Fancy Dress Week. Well, it was at Fancy Dress Week at a lot of affiliates, but it definitely was at Bath. So how was rounding out the Open there?
Oh, well, Fancy Dress Week for us, unconventional, I know, was actually 22.2. I don't know why.
Ah, okay.
I don't know why that was. I spent a lot of time making my costume, far more time than is justifiable for my life. But
what did you dress up as?
So every team was assigned a color, which meant some people just went with a color, and we were yellow. So when I hear yellow, I think Wolverine.
I think Hufflepuff.
And I made like a Wolverine helmet, like cowl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, house colors. 10 points for Hufflepuff.
She's just out of reach over there somewhere. But I mean, I saw some videos of the Friday Night Lights of 22.3, and it looks like everyone in Bath had an amazing time. I was so dead on Friday in general, so I had a horrible time, both before, during the workout, and then I do the workout like 10:30 in the morning, so I then just got to suffer for the rest of the day, thinking I probably shouldn't have done that workout. That was not the best decision I've made for my health. And just had a day sitting on the sofa doing absolutely nothing because I felt like death. So apart from that, what a way to finish out the Open. I don't know. I woke up at like 4 a.m. Friday morning feeling really bad. And then someone was like, "Oh, why did you come in and do it? Why didn't you do it on Monday?" I was like, "Because life, like Friday morning is the time I have to go in and do the Open workout. That's what I've done every other week, so I'm going to do it." And like the warm up was okay, and I did. It's like initially I was like, I'm not even going to try a bar muscle up because they're finite, so I don't want to waste one. And in the end, I did. I was like, I did a few pull ups, a few chest to bars, did a muscle up. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe it won't be so bad. Did the first set of 21 pull ups. Broke them as well. Didn't even go unbroken on those. Like broke them a couple of times. Got off the bar and was just like, "Oh, I've got nothing left. Like there's nothing left in the tank at all. And then I just suffered through the rest of the workout, and I didn't even get to the bar muscle ups because I got time capped on the set of thrusters just before. So I think actually we got exactly the same score, Tom.
We did. I looked what yours was and then was like, I'm going to land it on a
stop
dime.
when I get there.
Yeah. It wasn't until that was complete coincidence, actually. But it would be, I'd like to think I have full control over my fitness. I do not.
And ironically, despite that, this has been my best open finish ever. So that says something about old Jason and how bad he was at the Open. But or something maybe about the quality of this year's Open. Don't want to throw aspersions this early, but yeah.
Well, I guess so. When I went to invite kind of Josie and Nick you on for this week, I described you as gymnastic queens, right? The previous 2 weeks were pretty heavy on the kind of engine bias, I'd say, you know, accessible movements. Like Josie, were you pleased to finally see some progressively more complex gymnastics coming in, a chance to kind of showcase where there's skill, not just capacity?
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we all knew there was going to be a gymnastics skill at some point, right? I'm sure Nicole was wishing there was a bit of a heavier barbell somewhere. There wasn't a heavy lift, was there? That was a bit of a curveball, but I was kind of glad to see there wasn't a heavier lift and that there was gymnastics. So that was like big tick for me. What
was your, like, with your kind of, you know, enjoyment and strength in gymnastics, were you unbroken on all three of those, or did you have like quick sets?
No, I went unbroken on the pull-ups, and then I was supposed to go unbroken on the chest to bar, and then on like the 16th rep I was like, oh, my grip's slipping, so I did a really sensible break of 16 and 2. Makes loads of sense. I just came down and was like, oh yes, there's 2 to go. Whoops.
Yeah. Well, they do always say, don't they, if you're going to break it so that like it's descending reps, right? That's very often a WOD prep strategy. So solid. You know,
16 and 2, it's sensible. And then on the bar muscle ups, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll go for like a big set. And by then, I was feeling pretty dead. Like the bar muscle ups were way harder than I thought. I think the thrusters were harder than I thought. And they were tough for me. It was a thruster workout for me, I think.
And in the chat. Mary Carmen has joined once again from Mexico.
Hello,
she did well. I've been watching her Instagram. She put up a really impressive performance in her age group. So well done.
Nick, I'm going to be siding with you. I was disappointed there wasn't the chance to put a bit of extra weight on the barbell. I mean, I got to the 50 kilo thrusters, so technically someone put extra weight on the barbell, but I definitely was hoping to see a little bit more, you know, for 1 rep, 3 reps max of something.
Yeah, I had because I only got given it a few weeks ago. It's either 19.2, 19. I think it was 19.4, where it was toes to bar, double unders, and then a increasing barbell squat clean. I thought they were going to do a repeat and do that repeat, because I was like, right, we haven't had double unders, we haven't had some form of gymnastics, and then there's a heavy barbell, like tick tick tick, and then it wasn't that, and I was like, okay. But then I don't know. It's been a accessible Open, hasn't it? So maybe the more challenging side of it is being saved for the quarters and the skill side. I just absolutely riled Jason up there.
I'm so glad you said that, because just winding him up.
I know.
Winding him up.
He's ready.
Sam, I was gonna send it your way, Sam, but I think Jason's pulling on his leash, so we might need to.
No. Please send it my way first. My way first.
Yeah, because Sam, what were your thoughts?
On the whole Open, or just the third one? Just
22.3 for now. I mean, bringing in the gymnastics, thrusters. I mean, you're a fan of thrusters, right?
I'm a massive fan of thrusters. I genuinely am a massive fan of thrusters. But I'm not a fan of pull-ups at 140 kilos. So you will see from my score. No, what, a pull-up?
That was your kind of like you wanted to get one. Did you?
I got one. I got one 12 times.
You got 12? That's so good.
I was going to say, you said you wanted just one, like you wanted to get pull-ups. That's amazing.
They were, I mean, that was okay. I mean, it's a good job I've got a long beard, is all I can say, because I think my judge was letting me sort of get away with my beard being over the bar. So what are they? Beard over bar. pull-ups. Is that like that's like a chin over bar pull-up, right?
It's like chest to bar, boobs to bar.
Yeah,
for ladies.
exactly. And I'm winning. To be honest, I'm winning in both of those things. Bar muscle ups, I just rip the bar off the ceiling every time. But unfortunately, I did only get 12 reps. So the thruster, useless. All the double unders I've been working on over the year, completely useless. But
Why didn't you be scaled then? Did you not scale it?
Because you drop like a rock down the leaderboard, and I was already somewhere near the bottom of the leaderboard. So I suppose the argument is you could go scaled if you want, and you won't actually drop that far down the leaderboard. But let me just have a look.
If you had any pull-ups, it did mean it was a bit pointless to do scaled if you knew you had the thruster weight, which is where I think they maybe messed up the programming a bit. If you had one pull-up, you may as well have done RX, right?
Yeah. So just to give you an idea of, my first two workouts, I came 117,000th, 108,000th, and then 99,000th. So between the first and the third workout, because the two were super, I could do all of the movements on all of the workouts in the first two. And then, because I could do one pull-up, it jumped me like stupid up like 20,000 places.
But I also think that's the kind of meaning of the CrossFit Open. If you think about like your lens, your goal was to get a pull-up. You went and got 12. That's massive. No matter the scale of the workout and the kind of full itinerary there, like that is a huge achievement for you, and that's mega. Like that's what you should be celebrating.
Yeah. I mean, I did it as Ben from WODPrep would show you on his YouTube videos. I did it from a box, standing on the box to start, and then let myself down into a full extension and then sort of pulled up. So that, not cheating.
Someone's been doing their homework, reading
exactly. Well, it's not cheating because I was at full extension at the start of the rep, and there's no cheating there. I basically did it as an EMOM, one pull up a minute, which seemed fine.
I think what's interesting, and Josie, you're saying there around going scaled, and there is that leaderboard element that one rep of RX will always beat any scaled score. So, and there's a number of ways you can do it. I think that whole thing, you could do a little bit of RX and then switch to scaled and just submit the appropriate score. But if you look at the scaled, though, I mean, it had jumping pull-ups for the first round, pull-ups for the second round, and chest to bar for the third round. So there was still inevitably, and you were still going to see blocking movements, which is what we didn't have in, predominantly not have in the other two movements. So I am now going to jump over to Jason. I don't know whether that is what's grinding you on that. Is it the accessibility this time, or what is it for you, Jason?
I mean, I don't understand why being able to do RX makes it accessible. We have a scaled and foundation division to make it accessible. So you've got obviously, I mean, we're talking about, we didn't see a heavy barbell. Okay. We didn't even see an Olympic lift. Like the only time we did an Olympic lift was cleaning the bar onto your shoulders for the thrusters. Like, so I get that at quarterfinals, you're going to get all of these, extra skills and that, but there's a massive amount of people that are part of the CrossFit community that have been training all year on their clean and their snatch and their double unders and their gymnastic skills to then see where they, stack up globally. And they're like, oh, I know I'm never going to get to quarterfinals. That's not my goal, but I just want to see where I sit or how much I've improved over last year. And then you get two workouts that are almost identical, with it just being capacity to push yourself off the floor, jump over something and pull something off the floor. And you saw that the same people did very well in both of those workouts. And then finally we get some gymnastics, but like buried in between all the thrusters. So if you've got someone who's like a gymnastic ninja, but maybe they're smaller, they didn't necessarily get to the barbell, get to the muscle ups. Or you've got somebody who, wanted a heavier barbell like Sam, but then he had to get through the pull-ups first. And what I found kind of bitter about this workout in particular, with there not being a second part, if there'd been a part B that was just like a 1 rep max, everyone can do a 1 rep max. And whether your 1 rep max is an empty barbell or 100 kilos, it's your 1 rep max, and everyone there can get behind you cheer you on, and you finish out the open knowing you gave that your absolute best at the end. When this was announced, so like the little group chat I was in for the kind of team within Bath that I was part of, the WhatsApp group was just blowing up with people being like, "Oh, but I can't do pull-ups. Oh, I can't do chest to bar. I can't do." So it just meant for a lot of people, they finished out the open staring at a bar, like not really getting to do the final workout, which I think is, not really fair. Like
It's an outrage. It's an outrage, Jason, is what it is.
And if I had to take this workout and modify it, I'd get rid of the thrusters in between the rounds. I cut the time cap in half and say, here's a little gymnastics thing where you do pull-ups, double unders, chest to bars, double unders, bar muscle ups, double unders. Then we have a little pause, and either that's a longer pause because you finished quickly, or it's a shorter pause because you hit the time cap. And then you've got, I don't know, 3-4 minutes to establish a 1 rep max thruster. There you go. And done it that way. And at least everybody could have done that second part and enjoyed themselves.
That's actually what our gym did. They added in a 22.3B, and they added 1 RM cluster at the end, which obviously makes sense after you've done a cluster. So it was kind of like, why didn't they do that? Like, everyone would have wanted it.
That was my
strongest event, that it would have made sense.
If there's going to be a lift, I thought it was going to be a cluster or a thruster. I was like, they've done cleans and jerks too often, or snatches. I was like, they're going to do a thruster, like the Euro qualifier, whatever that was. It's coming in.
And I mean, I say it again, this was my best open finish ever. So, like, it's not, oh, I'm bitter because I didn't, the movements that I'm good at didn't show up. This is the best I've ever done. Maybe that's the problem because I'm not that good at CrossFit. So maybe I shouldn't be this high up, because actually, the first 2 workouts were kind of okay for me, and I just sort of went through them, and then I didn't do as well in the last one, which which is annoying, because I know if I'd gotten to that, if I'd gotten to the bar muscle up, that's the one movement that if Sam's saying like how many places he jumps up by doing a pull up, if you can do a bar muscle up, it just catapults you up the leaderboard tremendously. So that's the second year now where we've had bar muscle ups, but they've been right at the end of something, and I just haven't made it to them, and that's very frustrating.
Do you know what it will really throw a spanner in the works for is all of the competitions that say you should do RX if you went RX in the open. If you could do all the movements RX in the open, you're the RX category. If you have to scale it, you're intermediate. Because there'll be loads of people that are like, I went RX in the open, but like you said, like it was an
there will be
accessible
people
RX, wasn't it?
that are like, I got to quarterfinals. I've made it to quarterfinals. I'm in the top 10%, and they can't do a bar muscle up. Like, that's the craziness behind this. Or maybe they can't snatch well, or their clean and jerk is like very weak for kind of what's considered to be kind of that RX, because none of those elements were tested, which anyway, that's fine. Maricam has asked a question, which I mean goes back to also this, the levels things. No, I don't think they've been introduced yet. But again, you could have an amazing level coming out of the open, and a CrossFit competition is saying, hey, if you've got this level, then this is for you. And it starts with ring muscle ups. And you're like, oh, I can't do ring muscle ups. Then it's like, well, hold on. You're at this level. Surely you can. So
you're a quarterfinals athlete.
Well, do you know, there was a good chance I wasn't going to be on tonight, and I'm so glad I came, because I feel a lot better now.
I do agree with what you're saying. RX isn't supposed to be necessarily accessible. That's why there's scaled options.
Thank you.
There are huge parts of me. Sorry, there are huge parts of me that wish I couldn't RX that workout. Like, I'm not generally speaking, I'm not an RX athlete. I shouldn't be. I got my first handstand push up like last week.
Saw that. Smashed it.
I mean, yeah. I tried for a second, failed. I've got a video of the fail. It's epic. But I should not be an RX athlete at all. I have no doing, and it comes down to like, even in training, like when you have like an RX weight or an RX sort of set of movements on the board, like I have no business there. That's not where I live. Like I have no business doing RX. But I managed to RX all 3 open workouts. Like, yes, I didn't do amazingly, but it was accessible enough for me to RX. Like, it should be too hard for your or you should be so hard that your Gen Pop athlete, your Gen Pop sort of CrossFit gym goer, shouldn't be able to do well. And there are lots of people I've seen on Instagram who I would perceive to be sort of Gen Pop fitness fanatic CrossFit goers, and they did very well in the workouts, which is great. Like, is amazing for them, but it's not amazing for the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it crazy though that you can have so many people that are like, well, that were upset because they couldn't RX the final workout because they couldn't do a pull-up, but they've RX'd the first, like, you're in the last week of the Open and you've RX'd every workout, and what stopped you isn't the bar muscle up, it's the pull-up, and yet
yeah.
two workouts you've RX'd and actually got really good scores. Like, that should tell you that something doesn't sit right with the levels here.
Well, there's a danger then as well, is that person potentially is RXing the Open through chance, not through ability. And I think one of the things I would say, and that's not a criticism, it's again maybe looking at the fact that we always talk about the difference between the competitive side of CrossFit and the methodology. And I think we have to recognize that scaled means something different in competition, and including in that, I mean the Open, and within the class environment, Sam, which you were talking about. Like, I don't class myself as an RX athlete in terms of the methodology. Like, I'm very rare, if ever, doing the weights on a prescribed workout because it won't give me the prescribed stimulus. But the great thing about the methodology is in that environment, scaling is it's an infinite scale. And so you can scale the bits you need to ensure you still get the correct stimulus and allow you to kind of continue to improve. But in a competition environment, whether it's going RX in the Open or scaled in the Open, it's kind of binary. You're either one or the other. Now, what you can do, and we've mentioned this on previous podcasts, is adjust it and then make sure you still get a workout, make sure fitness is still achieved. Because for 99, well, at least 90% of us, that's the primary goal, right? Is staying fit and like just getting some fitness in. And I think that's the issue when we talk about the methodology, which is infinitely scalable, and competition, where you have to create levels, for want of a better word.
Isn't that, sorry to labor, I'm sort of laboring it, I'm going to argue because that's my prerogative right now, but that's a contradiction though, right? So you're saying that the methodology is infinitely scalable and the Open is not infinitely scalable, but if you do, and if you got an RX movement, then you do the RX movement to the point of which you can do that, and then you scale it to get your workout in. But the whole point of the CrossFit Open is not to get a workout in, is to get the best score you possibly can, right? So if that is the aim of the CrossFit workout, if that's the aim of the CrossFit Open, then you should be doing the bit that you should be doing the best that you can do. Yeah. Whether that is doing 12 pull-ups in 12 minutes or doing one pull-up in 12 minutes, like, that is the best option that I have to get the best score in the Open. So that's what I'm going to do. If that was a class, my coach would be going, "What are you doing? This is a 12-minute workout. Why are you doing one pull-up?" Because I'm paying for the workout that I go to the class to do. And I know I've paid for the Open, but what I've essentially paid for is my name on the leaderboard and a set of three and a set and that's fine. Like, I love that. And we've talked about this before. I love that about CrossFit. I would happily pay to have the CrossFit Games happen. And that's what some of my Open money goes to. Perfect. I'm happy to do that because it puts more money in some of the athletes' pockets and some of the staff's pockets, and it grows the sport and the methodology and everything about it. Brilliant. Yeah. But we can't, if you want to work out, great. But what you want is to get the best Open score, right? That's the whole point of the.
No, you're right. And what I'm kind of doing there is like pseudo blending between training and competing, right? You don't tend to do both at the same time. And yeah, Sam, what you're saying there is a lot of people, give the best representation you can of yourself. Hopefully not at the detriment of other aspects of your training, right? The number of times I looked at 22.2, for example, and I'm sure even like, Josie, Nicole, you might be the same here, right? And you were like, I don't want to end myself on that barbell by compromising form and not be able to train for a week. That's the main thing I thought, is to like, I want to be able to kind of pick my kid up tomorrow. So like, I kind of was a bit careful. Now for you guys, I guess you're thinking about quarterfinals, whereas I was just thinking about the shopping. No,
I definitely set myself up for that one, because I think if we look at the workouts, like 22.3 was a Josie workout for the gymnastics, and just I was ready to watch her absolutely smash it. And I think 22.2, I was kind of like, this is my one. If I'm going to do well in any of these workouts, this is mine. Like, I want to really push on this one. So I
Hold
kind
my
of,
beer.
yeah, literally. So I kind of set myself up for it. Like, I think I half intentionally did it so that I had that pressure on me to do it. And yeah, it was, like, as you say, I did it on the Friday and I had a bit of a kind of a night where it just didn't go right. And then I had to do it again on the Sunday. But my back on the Friday night was, not in a good way. But you kind of push through it to see where you're going to stack up on the leaderboard and just give your all. I always think if I finish a workout or an event or anything and I feel like I had something left, I'll be disappointed. So I just want to leave it all out there and really end myself. But yeah, that was not a nice one to redo. That workout in particular.
But that was a weird one though, with the whole being accessible thing. It was like an accessible weight that a lot of people could lift, but maybe shouldn't be doing 100 reps of.
Yeah, safety, the step down of the boxes and then
Yeah, it was
break your back.
We like Achilles tendons, but spinal erectors, we don't care about those guys.
That's again where I was saying to people, like, you have no business deadlifting 100 kilos 100 times, regardless of whether you can or not, regardless of whether you can do all these reps in 10 minutes. You have no business there. You know, what are you doing? Like,
again, it's to get that good score, like to our exit, right?
And that's absolutely fair enough. Like I said last week, like that, the deadlifts were not the hard bit of that workout for me. 100 kg deadlifts is not 101 or whatever it was, 102 was not a problem for me. The picking myself 140 kilos from the floor to standing up and jumping over the thing, a little bit more difficult, right?
I'd say the first two for me, I think, were less physical, more head for me in the two workouts. They were just, how comfortable are you being in that dark pain cave? And can you keep moving until that time cap tells you to stop? I think, the physical aspect wasn't as challenging for me on those two. The third one, definitely, because it was just a skill element. But the first two would just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's where the kind of competitive guys really came through, I think, and just fought for it.
Did you hear the rumor about how 22.1 was changed?
No. What was the rumor?
Tell us, Jason.
Did you speak to Castro? I'm joking.
I didn't, but other people that did. So the box jumps were added in place of shuttle runs.
Ooh.
That would have been crap, wouldn't it?
Well, that would have been not on. That would have also not been.
Well, yeah, but at what point was it changed? But if you think about it,
3 minutes before the announcement.
Well, I mean, it would have been a very different stimulus. And if you think about it, apart from like the double unders, there wasn't anything that was really taxing you in the same way, was there? Because there was no rower, there was no bike, there was no. It was all.
Some of us aren't so good at burpees, I would like to add.
Yeah, but it's still very. That's the point, isn't it? Burpee, like you get down and you can always stop, right? And
you can always go slower on burpees.
Well, realistically, in the whole open, you've only moved about 9 feet.
Yeah.
Like literally, you've only moved 9 feet because that's the furthest distance away from the wall, was 9 feet from the bar, right? So literally in the whole of the open, the first workout was 6 foot from the wall. No, it was 8 foot, wasn't it? From the wall to the box. So you're maybe 12 foot. You've jumped over a box and you're about 12 foot from away from where you started. And then the other one was literally just jumping over a barbell, and then the last one was about 8 foot from the bar. So you've not moved literally more than 8-10 foot.
Do you know why they changed it? Did you hear that part of the rumor? Or
no, just that was the.
It must have been before it must have been before the equipment list went out, because you'd have to specify that people needed space.
Yeah. Well, Castro was gone before the equipment list came out, wasn't he?
One thing I'd say on that, and it maybe lends itself why that was, say, in a draft, in an original version of that workout, is we've talked previously about moving to more in-person judging, because I mean, you can kind of like say, because it takes the load off home office HQ because they're not having to do as many video reviews. But that also makes the open more accessible, because there is that daunting aspect of like, oh, if I want to do this, I've got to video it and upload it. And even though like from my video submissions from last year, still 0 views, right? Nobody's judged. And but
even
anyway,
the one
sorry,
where you bailed on the box, I would have thought that had loads of views.
I had to clip that out. No one was going to watch the full 15 minutes or 20 minutes of me suffering on that. But no, what I was going to say is I do think it becomes more accessible, but because you've got in-person judging. But that trying to do a shuttle run through a video submission is really difficult, because like, so Rogue have done like online challenges, and there was one where you had like 400-meter runs, and you had to have like markers, and you had to kind of do like use an app which would geo map you walking, right? Now, admittedly, if you're doing a shuttle run, it might just be 10 meters, right? So it's just about having a tape measure. So it's a little bit easier, but it's a massive effort. And I think also perhaps
and a nightmare doing classes, right? Like a lot of people do the open in the class.
Yeah. I did shuttle runs at CrossFit New England one. When I dropped in at CrossFit New England, they had shuttle runs in there, but the way they made it work was you did I think it was like kettlebell swings or something at one end of the gym, and then you had to zigzag down the gym, and they were like, always make sure you go to the right so you don't clash with the person coming in. It was chaos.
God.
So
genius.
One thing I'm just going to get in for a second, talking about the open, and I know, Jason, you said this was like one of your best open finish. Like, I went in
Also,
with
not one of my best open finish. Let's
okay.
just...
So I kind of set expectation like this year that like I just wanted to post a score every week, and I managed to do that. So I was pretty happy with it, but it took a lot of effort for me to kind of then rein myself in, because my scores were what they were, but I always felt like, oh, I could have done more, maybe I could have got a few more reps, but it was like, no, learn to just be comfortable with what the goal that I set. I didn't think I'd be able to RX. I highly expected to be able to need to scale one of the workouts, and so I was pretty pleased to RX it. And it wasn't the weight or the skill that kind of held me back. It was definitely my lungs. So that's something I can work on. I want to throw it back to I'm going to go to Nick with this one. Like, you mentioned at 22.1, 22.2, like how long can you like go in the cave for, like the pain cave for? Now, a lot of people are saying you should just be one and done in the open. We saw with 22.3 that it was more of a skill element, and the strategies you saw was like go out fast and hold on. It's supposed to hurt. But because there was a skill element, which was it hard? Like, I don't know if you went one and done or whether you did it more than once. Was there being a skill element in the third one, even though it was like it hurt and you just had to go hard? But was there like, oh no, there's strategy in there, because it's about applied skill, not just kind of like how long can I be in the pain cave for? Because 22.1 and 22.2, it was like however many 15 minutes in the pain cave, you could give that a go again and get 5 extra reps. It's like kind of isn't worth it in the large scheme of things. But Josie, as you mentioned, right, you could just break your pull-up slightly differently, and you might be 30 seconds slower, and that could be the
next time, maybe on the bar.
Well, it's like that's a DT split, that is. But yeah, I mean, Nick, going back to what I was saying, was it harder because you felt like strategy, even though it was just a light the fuse and hold on, there was still this kind of influence of strategy where you're like, oh, well, if I break the pull-ups, then I'll have something left for the chest to bar or whatever.
Yeah, I think going back a level, I think it depends on what your goal and your purpose is coming into the open. So for me, I really wanted to focus on the open. I know some focus on just getting through the open to get to quarters. For me, the open was my measure. I wanted to see where I stacked up in the world, really test some of the elements of CrossFit that I've been working quite hard on over the last, I'm going to say 2 years, because last year I only got to the third one and then was doing thrusters with my broomstick or something stupid. So for me, it was a real kind of test of actually, this is where I am right now. So I put all of it, and I wanted to make sure that I was happy with my score, and I was pretty confident that was the best I could have done. That's when I think leave it. So I have the option to redo. I don't go in with a specific, I'm only going to do it once and not do it again. I kind of just keep the option there. For 22.3, I did plan to do it twice. One with a more conservative breakdown, which I wanted to do on Saturday with Jose, which was just to break up more than I thought I needed to, realizing that gymnastics isn't my strength, but break it up, be realistic, and then go again on Monday with a bigger set if I felt confident with it. So I just knew I wanted to get through it, get a score, have it in the kind of banker, and then be a bit brave on a second attempt. But actually, the first attempt, my conservative attempt, I gave it all. I don't think if I went any bigger on the sets, I would have.
We just ended up racing.
Yeah, we really did. We were just kind of like watching each other. So Jose would get ahead on the bar, and then I try and catch up on the thrusters. And it was just kind of, when I saw broke at the 16, I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm in. I wasn't. I was like 20 behind. But yeah, it's just so I think I leave it open to a redo if I feel like I had more in me, or I think if I was to redo it though, I would go with a different strategy. I wouldn't just redo it with the same strategy and hope for the best. So yeah, I had two different approaches, and with 22.2, that was the only one I did redo. I had a different strategy, so I broke up the deadlifts from 8 to 8, and went out a little bit slower than I did on the kind of previous attempt. So I kind of reviewed my video, thought, actually, this is where I maybe messed up. This is where I can make some time up and better my score. So yeah, if you redo it, think about a different strategy and go again. Unless you really just messed it up, which yeah, then fair play.
I was chatting to Luke Ebron after, because obviously he did his, and he I saw he did his again. I was like, worth it? ? He put, definitely not. 12 seconds, bro. Like, wow. But I think that third workout was definitely having, as you say, like that, having the workouts where it's, there is a time limit. So how long can I stay in this cave for? It was like the third one was like, how long do I have to stay in the cave for? Like, if I could get it done, then I'm done. And Mal O'Brien with 4 minutes 11 or something stupid.
She's smashed it. Like,
She
wow.
did.
Looking at her scores, first and 2 seconds.
First, second, first was.
Yeah, something crazy. Like, yeah, that's just so impressive, isn't it? Like, wow. And just crazy scores. Like, offensively fit that girl is.
That kind of goes back to what Jason was saying earlier about this being an open, and I obviously she's an elite athlete, but it goes back to like, is there a certain type? We know she's strong, so probably this is probably completely wrong, but does it favor a certain type of athlete? Like Hayley Adams came in third. Now, would she have come third if there was a mega heavy barbell workout? Maybe. I mean, and that's not me saying Hayley Adams can't lift a heavy barbell, but there are some other, there are some sort of ladies within the top 20 who I'm thinking, some of them are like, never heard of you before.
I agree with what Jason said in terms of, I don't think we got to test the full range of elements of CrossFit, and you only got 3 scores, right? And so coming out of 22.2, it's a very different leaderboard than what you would have maybe seen in previous years. There were some kind of unknown names up there, and elites kind of not right at the top, but like, hovering, and that's quite unusual. So I think if there was some point A's, point B kind of within that, then and more scores, we may have seen that kind of leaderboard go back to its, I guess, expected order. But I just think with only 3 scores and 2 workouts being not your typical kind of CrossFit workouts, it was always going to be a very different leaderboard. So yeah, we'll see if that kind of changes and reverses back in the quarters if they do kind of.
I think it will. It'll reshuffle massively, won't it?
I think
a bit
so.
Higher skill, heavier bars, and a lot of people. I think you've got to remember those top guys. They're not looking at the open workout necessarily as like, I'm going to give 100% to my open workout. They probably trained for another 3 hours after doing it. Like they're just thinking, going to the games, I'm training for the games. They're not thinking, I'm going to redo this workout. So maybe they're operating at their like, maybe 75%. And then you're comparing their scores to other people's 100%. So it's kind of, I think in years gone by, maybe they'd have redone them to kind of get that ticket to the games, but it's not the same thing anymore.
And I think that's why I find it so kind of annoying that we didn't get to be tested in different ways, because you're right, the elites don't care. They know they've they've got it. And my point isn't, I don't even feel like all the wrong people went to quarterfinals, because again, that like top 10%, it's, you know, it is what it is. I just think it's the rest of the CrossFit population that just didn't get to, like, this is the end for them now. For us, this is like end of the road. We've done the Open, it's over. See you again next year. And you're thinking, and I didn't, like, I look at it like this, you know, just before we hit record, Sam may have mentioned that I don't consider myself a strong athlete, and he definitely doesn't consider me a strong athlete. But every barbell that was programmed, admittedly, I didn't get to that final set of thrusters, but I could do thrusters at that weight. Like, that's crazy. I can't believe that every barbell that was put out, I would be able to do, because I'm not a strong athlete. Like, that's, you know, I'm small and I'm not that strong. Like, I can live with that.
I want to I want to big you up a little bit, because I was watching you. Was it power cleaning today? Power snatching today, and that was strong, bro. Strong, and your numbers are not far off of a guy who weighs 140 kilos. So that
again, Sam, that might be why I'm annoyed that we didn't get any technical lifts, because that's where, again, I think, like, that's where I think the hard work the average CrossFitters put in over the year pays off, because, you know, a clean and a snatch, my numbers can be much closer to somebody bigger and stronger than it is going to be on like a deadlift or a back squat, because technique plays such an important point. So I can work on that and I can improve that technique, and like you can make a lot of progress in a year. Whereas, you know, your back squat numbers, your deadlift numbers, things like that you can progress over a year, but it's going to be, you know, within the limits of what, you know, of how much strength you can really put on. But like, we didn't, you know, I just think about Wednesday. Every Wednesday is weightlifting, is Olympic lifting at CrossFit Bath. So I've seen people really working on their snatch, really working on their clean, and like have made a lot of progress over the year and haven't had a chance to demonstrate it at all. And I just feel, you know, disappointed, I suppose, for them, because you've put it, and obviously it doesn't matter. Like, it absolutely doesn't matter. But as you said, like, yeah, the games athletes, they're going to get a snatch or clean or whatever at the games or at quarterfinals, at semifinals. But for us, like, this was it, guys. So, okay. Hope you enjoyed the Open.
The magic of the Friday Night Lights is those kind of PB lifts or first muscle ups or whatever it may be. But like, lifting's typically the one that people really get excited for, and that's their memory of the Open. So yeah, like, it is a shame that they haven't been able to get that. Not
gonna lie, actually, I've got a 95 kilo clean. I would have loved to get 100 kilos during the Open. That would have been an absolute thing of beauty, but yeah, never mind.
There you go. You call yourself a not very strong athlete. That's exactly the same as my clean currently.
That's decent.
So that is a very decent clean. Also, in the words of JLS, and to sort of round off this Open chat, you only get one shot, so make it count. You never get this moment again. Yeah.
I feel like I almost need to stand up then.
No, I think, yeah, you do yourself a disservice a little bit there, Jason. One thing I'd like Sam says, rounding out that, I'd say 22.3 was my favorite of the three. I thought
you were going for another JLS quote then, like no, as Sam said, and JLS.
But I think, you know, looking at like the UK stats as well, like, it's one I'll probably never redo it, but for those that are more aspirational than myself, like, you know, just under 20% of the UK men who went RX completed it. So it's a good target. But not only, like, so, you know, you could be like, you know what, I want to get through those muscle ups and then work on my heavy thrusters to finish, right? If you're aspiring for quarterfinals, then getting kind of, you know, if you can be complete 22.3, that's a good benchmark. You know, it's a bit less on the women's side, it's less than 10% completed, but with the chest to bar in there and heavier, and I mean, I get the impression the thrusters were pretty light for women and they didn't go up that much. But you know, there's some good milestones in that workout to be kind of like, for it to be really measurable as like, you know what, I've improved my skill, I've improved my capacity, whatever it might be. So that's why it's kind of my favorite.
Retest with a lift at the end.
Yeah, well, that was a good point that you made there as well, Tom, because I tell you what, that was devastating looking at the whiteboard and seeing the men's weights and then like this 10 kilo jump pretty much every bar, and then the women's going up by 5s. I was these women are strong, haven't they seen how strong they are?
Wasn't it literally like the week after International Women's Day?
Yeah.
fighting for equality, like
It was just more annoying what was it, 28 or 29 kilos, all those kind of weird fractionals. I'm like, oh God. Like,
Yeah,
it's
the
just so
pound
confusing.
conversion.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my head and my maths game.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going on.
My barbell looked like one of them sweet bracelets, with all the little kind of discs on, and like little half a kilo one pinging off. There we go.
Yeah.
Where I want to finish is obviously of the five of us. Nick, you were top 100 in Europe. I mean, that's phenomenal. You must be. I know you said you went all in on that. Really keen to kind of like. Given last year where you're kind of doing thrusters with a broomstick, so that's great to see. And Josie, you must be chuffed as well with yours. You were top 200, in Europe as well, right? So I hope you're both really, and it's amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think I'm both buzzing. I think we like you said earlier, I kind of dotted around to try and find the environment to do it in, and gave a few different places to go. And then actually my best performance is whenever I was with Josie. So I've just told her wherever she's going to do the quarters, I'll be in her back
We're
pocket.
going to do them together.
Yeah, and just chase after her. So yeah, it was. I think we both just pushed ourselves way further than we thought we were able to.
Yeah. Well, Con says congratulations. Con has had a great open himself as well. I think he's been really pleased with his performance and excited that he's looking to next year and building on that as well. So kind of great to I've really enjoyed seeing so many people posting, about their open performance. It's a great time of year for kind of like reflecting on how hard work has kind of like borne fruit. When we look back at last year, where for a lot of people, including yourself, Nick, the last workout was just not possible because didn't have a barbell or didn't have a gym. Like gyms weren't open. So it's fantastic that we've seen Friday Night Lights. We've seen, but then also people being able to kind of give a good measure of themselves and be happy with their performance or identify areas that they really want to improve.
Can we shout out to Connor, because I know you said he did well, but I think he did like seriously well, right?
Came 61st in Europe.
Yeah, I think 225th worldwide for the 16 to 17-year-old division.
He did really well.
Yeah.
He turned up.
Yeah, he was there.
As someone who does the stats, I undersold that. Sorry, Con.
It's because he didn't make the Chalking Fitness show reel, wasn't it? That's basically what it was, Tom. Is that why you didn't?
I think it's because he said he prefers plate stack chat to Chalking Fitness personally, but that's
who doesn't?
I mean, it is nice to know, even if we don't have the fitness ourselves, we clearly have the fittest listeners. So that's great.
I thought you were going to say like the Bants. I was like, all right.
The fittest listeners.
Yeah. And guests, obviously.
I feel there's a t-shirt there, isn't there? I'm sure Steve Beckett's still listening. Steve, get on it.
Yeah.
Like fitness by association or something like that.
Yeah.
Fit by association. I like that. Mate, that is a brand. That is literally a brand. Fit by association.
That is a copyright plate stack chat, 16th of March, 2022.
I guess then just to really round it out for you, Josie, for you, Nick, as well. Like quarterfinals is next, right?
Yeah, how are they next week? It's literally next week.
Alongside Battle for Middle Ground, which we're both doing on the Sunday. Giggity. We're going to give the quarters a bash. And then,
Got told off for that by my coach today. He was like, and why are you competing on Sunday?
I think active recovery.
I think this banner shows it perfectly.
Yeah, that's the answer.
There's sponsors if you can't see that, guys. If you're listening on your phone or whatever,
it's in our contract from Steve.
He cracks the whip. No, I'm joking. He doesn't at all.
Yeah, no.
We just heard there might be Project Donut there, and we're in. If Project Donut's there, we're there.
Gosh. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. Project Donut.
And that's March Mayhem, right? So that's because it was that active recovery. I was like, oh, there's a pool, but no, that's Trinity Wars, I think. That
Oh,
sometimes has
yeah.
a pool, right? So,
And that was not active recovery. My goodness, I almost drowned.
You're not supposed to take the dumbbell in the water with you, right?
I didn't know that your quads could burn that much swimming. I remember just getting out and being like, this is worse than any CrossFit workout I've ever done.
I was doggy paddling. Survive.
If you changed your coach now, but Boomer's taken over.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
He's a better swimmer than me, and all that hair. He's not a very good one.
Well, it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on. Congratulations again, but thanks for joining us around the plate stack, and congratulations to everyone who's done the Open, Jason, Sam, and everyone else that's listening. It's been like I say, it's a great highlight of the kind of season for many. Great highlight of the community, and it's the start of the season for the fittest few, including both of you. So, wish you all the best for quarterfinals and battle for middle ground that weekend. I really hope there's no time constraints, like you have to do a workout on Sunday, because I look forward to seeing you like in the car park battle for middle ground,
the warm-up area.
Workout in.
Yeah, just
getting our tape out. Sorry, guys.
I can guarantee you won't be the only ones in the workout area doing the open workouts for the quarterfinals.
Hornsey would sort us out. He'd make it part of the workouts or something, horrendous. So we'll be fine. We'll have some fun.
It'll be all right. We'll just be there with our torn hands.
I'm just that week right off, isn't it? Really, after that.
Well, on that note, torn hands and kind of sore legs sounds very CrossFit. It's been great. So thanks everyone for listening. You can follow Plate Stack Chat at plate.chat.stack. No, hold on.
Whoa, what was that?
Sam is at La Roche Original. Jason is Jason CF Media. Nicole is at Crouchy_X. And Josie is at Josie.Winfield, right?
Correct.
Fantastic.
She's got too many followers. That's why she didn't put it in her name. She's like
the real queen.
I didn't know that was a thing. Oh, Joya. No, sorry.
You don't have to. It doesn't matter. You have enough followers as is, I'm sure.
Well, on that, I'm going to say to log off, sign off, and say, keep training and move with intent. And remember, as Ed would say, the standard is the standard.